Nazoler Land第2号 is a mess. There's no other way around it. This is the second issue of Sunsoft's magazine for the Famicom Disk System, which they published in collaboration with Puzzler magazine. It came 4 months after the first issue, and it has less content, much of which is less interesting. It's generally not something that I could see anyone running out and buying. The idea isn't horrible. They're supposed to be minigame collections, giving you a few small games every issue from a different set of creators. Unfortunately, the games are not very good. They feel like the rough concepts left at the bottom of the filing cabinet drawer in Sunsoft's headquarters. And with this second issue, Sunsoft is scaling back the content. The first issue had 8 minigames, this one has 5, and the remaining issues have even fewer. What do you get in this one? Well, first there's Potalik, a puzzle game where you have a grid of 8 by 8 squares, and when you select a square, you cause that entire row and column to flip over. They're white on one side, red on the other, and your goal is to turn all of the squares white. If a majority of the squares are white, then your cursor is an angel, and if the majority of the squares are red, then the cursor is a devil. There are 25 stages, and you have a time limit, though you can also start the game at the last stage you haven't completed, so you can just pick up where you left off if you time out. The only difference between the 25 stages is the starting pattern, so once you grasp the geometry behind solving the puzzles, then you won't have any problem at all here. The next game is a sequel to a game that was in the first issue. This is Seikai Ishu Nazola Quiz, or the Around the World Nazola Quiz. Your goal in this quiz game is to travel to exotic locations and find 7 magic balls that will grant your wish once you've collected them all. When you answer a quiz question correctly, you get money, and then you can purchase a ticket to another location. There's not much more to it than this. The third game is Warashibe. This game is based on the folktale Warashibe Choja, which is about a poor man who starts with a straw, and then through a series of trading the straw for another item, and then that new item for another one, he eventually becomes rich. And that's the basic concept here. You start with a phone card and a pencil, and then have to trade the items around with 8 characters, swapping until you get a castle. The characters always appear in the same order, and you can offer to trade with them, and they'll make an offer for one of your items that you'll have to choose to accept or reject. If you choose not to trade or reject their offer, then it just goes to the next character. So the interface is a bit of a pain here. The next game is also kind of a puzzle game, Bakufu Tomo-chan, or Blast Tomo-chan. Here you're controlling Tomo as she walks back and forth on platforms. She can fall down, but can't go up. There's no jumping. She starts with 2 bombs. Hitting A will place one, and it will destroy brown bricks. It'll also kill Tomo if you wait there. Your goal is to get to the bottom of the stage, and there's 4 levels like this. If you get stuck, then you can hit select and go back to the start. Tomo also doesn't like mice, so if she winds up on one of those, then you lose a life. Since you really can't see where you're going here, this is actually a maze more than a puzzle game. You have to find the correct path through each stage, and you'll wind up in a lot of dead ends as you explore. Spots where all of your movement options funnel you into a mouse. Since you can't really plan ahead, this one winds up being not a lot of fun. The final minigame is Nazoler Shonen Tanteidan Hogane Yashigi no Nazo, or Nazoler Boy Detectives, The Mystery of the Golden Mansion. This is an adventure game where you're controlling an entire team of child detectives, and not just boys. You have a menu on the right-hand side to choose an action from, and after you pick an action, you choose a kid who will do it. You have one that's strong, one that's agile, and one that's observant. Sometimes you'll give a command that one of them hates, and that eliminates one of the letters by the team leader in the upper right-hand corner. If those go away, then it's game over. Your goal here is to find all of the pieces of a suicide note. You know, light, charming kid stuff. There's one more section on the disc, and that's Nazoler Box. And this doesn't contain a game, it contains a few magazine features. There's a section where it features letters that people have sent in, an announcement of a Miss Nazoler contest where people are invited to send in their drawings for a Miss Nazoler, and a simple drawing utility program where they can create their Miss Nazolers. I'll save the winner of this contest for when we get to the third issue, but the winner does wind up being someone that you might know, and if you don't know their name, you definitely know their work. But we won't get to that story until March of '88. That's how long it takes for the third and final proper issue to get released. Though we'll see a Nazoler Land special before then. The Nazoler Land series fell into obscurity pretty much the instant they were released. Nobody remembers, likes, or wants this one. I think you can see why. What we have here is a bunch of mediocre concepts. Tomo-chan and Watashibe don't have a lot of replayability after the first time you find your way through their complicated maze. The Kid Detectives adventure game is a cute concept, but it's implemented very poorly, and we're going to actually see several games like that on the Disk System that are better. Patalik at least has a concept behind it, but it's only the germ of an idea here. There just isn't enough happening in the puzzles. All in all, this is a package filled with disappointment.